Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been forever. First of all, I started this channel when I was like 19. I'm about to be 25. So, lots of things were going on. I was a nursing student. I graduated. Thank God. Honestly, sorry, my hands are ashy. I miss school because, let me not even talk about it. The healthcare system, actually, let's go there. The healthcare system is something I really wasn't prepared for. Regardless of how much schooling you go through and what you observe during your clinicals, you will never understand the depth of it until you work in it. But I got my RN permit, so we outside. Okay, government just increased our salary. You know what I'm saying? We're not making much, but we're making more than we were before. So we're happy about that. Anyways, so many life updates. Yeah, I graduated college. That's out the way. I'm almost 25. I turned 25 this summer. My attire is not wow. Honestly, when I thought of doing this video, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a get ready with me. I'm going to sit down and do my makeup. I'm going to have a cute little shirt. Lindsay did my hair. You know, I'm going to have my edges done. It didn't manifest like that. It just didn't happen. I've been so apprehensive on doing this video because it's very surprising, to say the least. Very surprising. But nevertheless, it is my life. And I feel like this video could help so many people. But guys, surprise, surprise, I am pregnant and I am going to have a baby boy. Do I look pregnant? Absolutely not. God had spared me because my first trimester, I looked like a zombie. My lips were black. I had recently just cut my hair too again. Surprise. I've been cutting my hair every 2 years. So I look like a boy with scabies. I look like if I had the plague. I couldn't eat anything. And also, I had not told my parents yet. They didn't even know I was in a relationship. I was with this man not too long, but we're going to get to that part of the story. Okay? So this story time is basically going to be about how I got pregnant. Not how I got, well, I don't have to explain how I got pregnant. We're all adults here. We know how I got pregnant. But just as many of you guys know, I recently rededicated my life back to Christ. How many years ago? Like I would say 2 years ago, around 2 years ago. Rededicated my life back to Christ. And I've been trying to walk the straight and narrow. The devil always finds me, okay? For some reason, he be on my tail. Anyways, but that's another story. So this story time is really just an open discussion about what happens to you mentally, I would say, and your surroundings. Sorry, I just look ashy. What happens to you mentally and as well as your interpersonal relationships when you get pregnant out of marriage? Because we know that fornication is a sin, right? But in this society today, as well as being a Christian, because I was talking with my brother earlier today, and I really realized that when you get pregnant, as a woman, I don't care if you're Christian or not, the sexual responsibility is often thrown on you. And when you decide to become a single mother, you often get looks of like, why would you do that? Why would you have a child for a man that doesn't even want to take care of the baby? Because in my circumstance, me and the child's father are not cordial. We are, I don't know how to explain it. That in itself, that is something that I wouldn't even elaborate on because I was so sick and tired of it. You know what I mean? I've recently reached a period of being happy during my pregnancy. So basically, during this video, I'm just going to recount how my first emotions when I found out that I was pregnant, how I navigated through my first trimester, currently in my second trimester right now, how that's been for me being in church, and how other people's reactions, how I was viewed, how I felt like if I was perceived as well as redemption in Christ. Because your child is always going to be a memory of what has occurred in the past. This is I don't want to use the term sin. The fornication was a sin. The child is not the sin. But this is a reminder of your past sins that you will constantly have with you. Especially if the relationship with the father is not good. I would say that's more of a reminder, because that is more terrorizing. Raising a child, as daunting as it may seem, doesn't stress me out as much as navigating co-parenting with my child's father. Yo, this is gonna come to a shock to so many people, but people need this. Actually, let me get my Bible too, because jeez. Before I start this off, I definitely want to read Romans 8:1, because this is gonna kind of like feed into and segue into the discussion that I'm about to have. So Romans 8:1 reads, and I'm reading from the NIV because it's clear. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, because through Christ Jesus, the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death. Okay, so basically, we're going to talk about, so we all know everything of the word is truth, right? Because the truth is the Bible, our sword, okay? All my fellow Christians, we know that the word is true. But I feel like oftentimes we forget that the interpreters of this word are mankind, and mankind are often biased. Although we should not be, mankind is often biased. I don't know why I'm getting tired. That's the devil. I rebuke the devil right now. But mankind is honestly, they're biased, right? So we're going to start with the first part of my story. So obviously, I was doing things that I was not supposed to be doing. I'm not going to say the word on here because apparently you get flagged. I don't know why. But I had recently started working my new job too. I was recently off of orientation as well. I had just finished doing my licensing exam, waiting for the results. And I started feeling extremely tired. Like, I'm not the type of person that feels tired at all. Like, I could go to youth meeting, come back from youth meeting at 4 a.m. And I used to do hair before I got my job, right? So I would come back from my youth meeting at 4 a.m., sleep from 5 to 8, wake up, go to work at like 9 o'clock. No energy drink, no nothing. I started sleeping like 14 hours. I would get up and still feel tired. But my schedule had changed too. Because when I was on orientation, I was doing mostly days, which was 7 to 3. And then when I got off orientation, the shifts they had for me was 3 to 11. So I thought it was just my body readjusting. Then my period didn't come. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm stressed. Whatever. At that time, my relationship was a little bit tumultuous too. That's a red flag. At the beginning of it, I was ignoring it because I knew that to a certain extent, I knew deep down that if it would continue this way, like, I would just leave, you know? I'm not one to be tormented in relationships. If I'm not having a good time, I'm gone. If I'm not having a good time, I'm gone. If I don't feel appreciated, I'm leaving. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, I like you, obviously, because I'm dating you. So, this person would be insinuating just a bunch of stupid stuff, honestly. And I was just like, it was frustrating. So, it was kind of tumultuous. So, I was like, maybe I'm just stressed. I'm going to wait 1 week to take my period. To take a test. So I waited. And then I told my friend, her name is Mashonda. I told Mashonda, like, no, that's not it. Mashonda had a dream. And she said I was holding a baby that had golden undertones and dimples. Who do you know who has golden undertones and dimples? Me. That same morning, because I think she wrote this in the group chat at 4 a.m. Before I went to work, I bought 2 pregnancy tests. And me, I don't know why I took it at work. I should have took it at home. I took it at work before the pee absorbed in the stick. 2 lines showed up. I was like, oh God. Instantly, I started to panic. My work dad, that's what I like to call him. He's there. I beeline towards him and I'm like, I need to talk. I'm hyperventilating and I'm crying. At the same time, I'm FaceTiming my best friend. I'm like, do you see this? She's like, it's a false positive. Yo, the amount of fun it wasn't like false positives are really come. Whatever. So I took the second one, positive, of course. And at that moment, even as a Christian, you're flooded with feelings of fear. Fear, number one, because this is a secret sin, basically. I'm not supposed to be doing this. Now I have a manifestation of it, and I can't hide this. Like, by the time, like, it's winter, right? You can't really see that I'm pregnant. You can't see my belly for real, because I put it on sweatshirts and stuff. That's just how I dress. You can't really see it unless I wear a tight shirt. But, like, you can't hide this. In 9 months, a baby is going to pop out of me. What do you mean hide it? Like, where am I going to give birth? In my cupboard? You know what I mean? But, like, okay, I was like, bro. In my head, I'm like, I just need to get rid of it. I think that's how the devil gets you. Because he really plays on your fear. Like, the fact that I used to be a person that would say, like, I would never have an abortion. Like, I just couldn't imagine that. Like, how could we even do that? You know, it's a gift from God. And I would tell my parents right away. When you're in that circumstance, you're not thinking like that. Our automatic nature as human beings is to hide our sin. Same way that Cain did with Abel when he killed him. God asked, where's your brother? And he's like, I'm not my brother's keeper. I don't know where he is. Like, why are you asking me? The whole time, this guy killed him. Like, you know what I said? He knew the geographical location of where the body was disposed of. But we just try to hide because there's so many conceptions surrounding that. Just being a single mom. Mind you, I have a job. I have healthcare. I have a savings account. Like, I make okay money at work, you know. I could take care of me and my child. Oh, what else? There's so many resources that could help me, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about, what are people gonna think of me? Oh my gosh, I just shaved my family. So in my head, that's my first response. So obviously I FaceTime the guy. I'm like, I show him the pregnancy test. He's smiling. Let's talk about that smile. He was happy. He was happy. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to keep it because I don't feel like we are where we need to be. Honestly, he's not where we both at that time were not where we needed to be. I was not making good enough money. And as in our relation, not even money part, honestly, in the relationship, it was just so rocky. So rocky. So I tell my best friend, I'm just like, this is never before have I discussed this with more than a select few of people. So anyways, keep that discretion advice. So anyways, I'm like, to my best friend, I'm like, bro, like I need to get rid of it. No. We go to the clinic a couple days or weeks later, because I'm hell bent on this. I'm like, I don't want nobody to find out. And obviously I'm in tears with the nurse. She was super sweet. It was fairly easy to get an abortion. I just had to go and say, like, I booked my appointment and they sat me down. They took blood tests. They took a STD test. And they're like, okay, well, we got you scheduled. Like, you could take the pill or you can do the surgery. Super simple. But the nurse asked me, but I think that nurse was really like heaven sent, because she kept asking me, are you sure you want to do this? Then when she was explaining the pill, she's like, if you take this, the first one, you can't go back. So make sure this is what you want to do. Anyways, so I think this is at the beginning of the month. My appointment to get the pill was at the end of the month. So I had a few weeks to like think and just sit down in my thoughts. Whole time going through morning sickness. I'm sick as a dog. I could not eat. I lost like 15 pounds in my first trimester. Also because I was stressed too. But so I'm just in my room sleeping. One day I'm sleeping and there's this testimony about this lady that went to, sorry y'all. There's this testimony about this lady that went to an abortion clinic, and she went there and they told her she couldn't have an abortion because the baby was too far along, and she decided to keep it, and the baby was the biggest blessing of her life. And I don't know why that specific testimony got to me, but it did, and I started bawling. And I wrote in my diary, like, I don't care what happens to me. Like, I'll find a way, but I'm going to keep this child. So I text the father. He's cool with it. Good. Everything's good. On our side, we're okay. We're still in a relationship. It's going better. I had to set some boundaries as well, you know. Because I felt guilty, you know. I'm sinning. I don't want to be in constant sin. He was also, from what I understood, he was deepening his relationship with God too. So he understood me. I thought he did. Never think that somebody understands you, because 9 times out of 10, they actually don't, unless they want to. So as the pregnancy goes on, obviously, things are not working out between me and him. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It got to the point where he was like insinuating that I was cheating on him. Me, I don't personally cheat. To me, cheating is like the foulest form of disrespect to a person. Like, I have to hate your guts to do that. And I didn't hate his guts. I really wanted the best for him. If he says otherwise, I don't know what to say in return. I really wanted the best for him. Like, I really loved him. You could ask anybody around. You could even ask my mom. But it was to a point where it was just getting nasty between us. I just said stuff to him at the end of the relationship that wasn't nice. he was saying stuff to me. Finally, it just got to a point where it was too much. We decided to part ways. And that's all I'm going to say about him in this circumstance. So months go by. Obviously, I'm not showing. I'm just getting skinnier and skinnier. And not months. I would say a couple of weeks. And I'm texting my best friend. I don't know which one I was texting. I don't know if I was texting Mashonda or Mark Anthony. Or not Mark Anthony, sorry. Mashonda or Nikki. I was texting one of them. And no, I think Nikki is like, tell your brother. Just tell him. Sorry, y'all. Tell your brother. And I was like, no, like Mark Anthony is gonna crucify me. Like, why would I tell him that? Whole time, that was never the case. So one day, I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm shaking. And my father's downstairs, and I'm like, Mark Anthony, I'm on the toilet. With my phone, like, Mark Anthony, I'm pregnant. I don't know how to tell this. No, I told him in a riddle. I was like, what's the contrary of killing somebody? He's like, giving life. And I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And there was a long pause on the phone, so I thought he had a stroke. But he did not, thank God. And he was just like, okay, how are we going to provide for this child? Jump right into action mode. And he's like, Alexandra, this happens to so many people. You're not the first. You will not be the last. You understand your mistakes. And I still love you. You're fine. When I heard that, I knew that, like, I was going to be okay. I don't want to cry this video. I don't think I'm going to cry. But that just made me emotional. But I knew that I was going to be okay. And he's like, you need to tell our parents. That scared me to my core. But, so before Christmas, I ended up telling my parents. I think that was the hardest part for me. Because shame is an emotion, right? Obviously, feeling shame is not a good feeling. Feeling like I disappointed God is not a good feeling, like condemnation, but I can handle it for myself. I just didn't like the fact that I put my parents in that position to reflect on their parenting and blame themselves. Don't cry, girl. Don't cry. That really hurt me. And at that time, I also needed the support of a partner, and I didn't have it. So I felt kind of like alone in my situation, because like I said in the beginning of this video, sexual responsibility is placed wholly on the woman. So I was asked, like, why didn't you protect yourself? Why would you go and do this? That, on my perspective, was very hurtful, because it's like, I understand, you know, obviously I'm smarter than us, right? But it's like, it takes two to tango. And I wasn't prostituting myself. I was in a relationship with a man that I thought loved me, and I loved him, you know? So, yeah. But I couldn't say now that everything is good between me and my parents. And I am happy for that. I'm happy for their love. They've been super supportive. They've been amazing. I was down bad. My dad made me porridge, so I was happy. My mom cooked me doubles. Amazing parents. They've supported me through this. And I really did not feel... Like, obviously, I have my days where I feel a lack of partner. Is that even a word? That's not even a word. Of partner support. But I'm surrounded by so much love. So after I told my parents, I kind of told my cousins and stuff, and they kind of told my aunts and uncles what was going on. Nobody really, like, people were surprised, because Even me, I'm still surprised. Like, am I actually pregnant? I don't know, you know? But people were surprised, but nobody really had much to say. Everybody's finding their own demons. So if you're ever dealing with a situation like this, please just tell the people that you know love you and that love Christ. Sorry, y'all. Because you cannot do this alone. Impossible. I can't do this alone. It's imperative that you are surrounded with a good community. And that's why God says don't go outside the context of marriage when you, how can I say this? Associate, that won't be the word. Associate yourself with someone, okay? Because the ramifications of that the emotional trauma, y'all, I need therapy. Like, I used to say, you know, I have my issues. No, this this level of hurt will haunt me for the rest of my life. And it came from one person. It came from the father of my child. And everything that went down. So that emotional trauma, that disruption of interpersonal relationships, nobody wants to argue with their parents or be on their bad side. Never that. Having a strained relationship with your family and you live in the same house, is detrimental to your mental health. Nobody wants that. I could say financial strain as well. Like, all of these things, God knew in his perfect mind and creation that at least get married. You know what I mean? The presence of a partner is better than no presence at all. You know, and just the fact that I got pregnant, I consider that a blessing. I could have gotten AIDS, HIV, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I could have been dead. Cervical cancer, not known a thing. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're past that. Then we had to tell my church, because I serve at church, right? So I was on the sound service team. And what was I doing? That was it. I'm pretty involved, you know. My uncle's a pastor. And yeah, so I told him, of course, I told him and his wife first. And I was so distraught. To see where I was before, honestly, I was so, like, emotionally broken. I'm finally piecing myself back together, because to be able to tell this story without crying is a lot for me. But I was very distraught. I went to him. I told him the truth. My cousin was in the room for emotional support. Did she say anything? Nope. She just sat there. And then we came up with a plan. We're like, well, we're going to tell the church in February. When did we say? Or end of January. When I started showing. Lo and behold, never really started showing. So we just told them on Sunday. I was sitting in church and I grabbed my mom's hand and I was like, shake. I thought that they were going to throw me out the Oh, I thought they were going to throw me out the window. They did not. Everybody was very loving and super kind. So even in the midst of my trials, I was shown a lot of grace and a lot of mercy. And that I thank God for. Because I don't think I could have gone through this and get rejected by people that love me. Lord, I would have died. I would have died. But all this to say, like, what is this to say? I was just a babbling montage of my trials and tribulations. But I feel like this will help someone. I'm so excited to have a son. I'm so excited to have a baby. regardless of the circumstances that revolve around it. And I just feel like it's a lesson learned too, because sometimes as Christians, we're often on our high horse and we believe that just because we sin in the dark, everything is going to be kept in the dark. That's not the case. Everything reveals itself either through you being exposed or, like I was saying before being rudely interrupted, everything reveals itself. But yeah, this is like my life update, pregnancy announcement. I don't know how to say this, but I definitely want to make a comeback to YouTube. But I feel like as the Lord wills, you know, because I'm tired, y'all. It's tiring carrying a human being. It's tired working and doing that. And then sometimes you get sick. It's like all of these things. Let me drink some water. But yeah, like I would love to make a comeback to YouTube too. It's definitely in the works. I have to renovate my room because I have a newcomer coming. So I'll definitely put maybe a corner so that I can film. I don't know if I want to film like my pregnancy journey. Maybe I will, because it will help me come to terms with that. But yeah, this is my video. Just know that, especially for the single mothers out there, society really beats us up. Why? I don't know. Choosing to care for a child is one of the best things that you can do. And it doesn't depend on if your motherhood doesn't depend on if the father wants to participate or not. If you're doing it for the right reasons. So I just feel like if people were as lenient as God was in Romans 8:1, and really realizing that there is no condemnation to those who are in Christ, we would be better accepted in society for sure. But unfortunately, it takes man a lifetime to forgive, and God, it takes a split second.